Welcome to the Vegas Insider channel here on YouTube as we take a look at college football best bets inside the SEC for Week 4. Kevin Rogers and Brian Edwards with you, and Brian coming off a 2-1 record last Saturday. He had the Florida Gators plus the points against Alabama, also hit the over in that game, and lost with Auburn against Penn State. The Tigers had chances at the end against the Nittany Lions, but they ended up losing. But Brian, though, 5-4 so far in his best bets this season on these videos as we welcome Brian in again. And Brian, let's begin down at Jerry's World. Texas A&M and Arkansas hooking up. And Jimbo Fisher's Aggies, they're playing well. The Razorbacks also looking good. They're ready to beat Texas at home earlier this season. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I like the underdog, and I give Arkansas a good chance to win this game. Now, since A&M came into the SEC, Arkansas has lost all 9 games against them, but they've covered in the last 3, and 5 of the last 7 have been one-possession games. They've really lost some just back-breaking heartbreakers at Jerry World in this rivalry. But, man, right now, KJ Jefferson's got 4 career starts, and Arkansas in those 4 games is averaging 42.8 points per game. They're obviously off to a 3-0 start, both straight up and against the spread. They mauled Texas by 19. They beat Rice by 21. And remember, they were trailing, I don't think at halftime, but I want to say late second quarter against Rice. So ever since that first half against Rice, which they didn't play well, they've played really well 10 quarters in a row now, beat Georgia Southern 45-10. Last week, they've got a speedy running back in Traylon Smith, and one of the best receivers in the country, and Traylon Burks. And Jefferson's playing well, and he is a big, big boy. A&M's got a really good defense, but their offense just hasn't been that great. I mean, I like Spiller, the running back, and they're a little banged up, a couple key players on offense. But one thing that kind of also, and I know this can be apples to oranges at times, but A&M goes to Boulder and only wins 10-7, and then Minnesota goes out there last week and wins 30-0. So that just obviously doesn't bolster the Aggie strength of schedule, and in my mind, it makes me downgrade them a little bit. So. And just Arkansas is starving for a victory in this game, and they've got such momentum. And look, when Arkansas, they've got a terrific fan base, especially when they are winning, especially when the winning hasn't happened in a long time. And you can, better believe the whole state is behind this team. I would think they'll probably have as many fans in Arlington as A&M does. And I give them a good chance to win this game outright, and I'm on the Hogs plus 5.5.
Taking a look at another SEC matchup, LSU and Mississippi State. They meet up in Starkville on Saturday, a noon Eastern kick. Last year when these teams met, Brian, in Baton Rouge, Mississippi State pulled off the big upset in Mike Leach's debut as nearly 17-point underdogs. And the season kind of went sideways for both those teams after that game. But for LSU, they come in at 2-1. They're favored to Mississippi State off a tough loss at Memphis last week. So who do you like between the Tigers and the Bulldogs?
I like Mississippi State. They had no business losing that game last week. Memphis got a defensive touchdown, and they got a special teams touchdown that was just complete nonsense. As the SEC office acknowledged, Memphis had 2 number 4s on the field on the same play, which is an automatic 5-yard penalty. Mississippi State had clearly downed the ball. The referee acknowledged that by putting his hands in the air. The ball should have been dead. The Memphis kid picks it up and goes like 95, 94 yards, somewhere like that. So that was a completely bogus touchdown. Mississippi State had a 26-12 advantage in first downs. They had a 468-246 advantage in total offense. Will Rogers is playing really good. The quarterback, Leach, has got some good receivers, and he's got a really good defensive coordinator. I mean, to hold Memphis to 246 yards of offense is really impressive. and they got to be pissed the way they got hosed by the refs last week. And LSU just lost their best pass rusher. Andre Anthony had a team-high 5.5 sacks last year. So far this year, he had 3.5 sacks, had a scoop and score. He went down with an injury last week. I don't know if they've confirmed it was an ACL, but they confirmed it was a season ender. LSU's also had some issues at the running back position with injuries and John Emery's ineligibility, which they're trying to get that appealed and reversed, but no word if we'll know by Saturday. And Mississippi State's got a great home field advantage, and I like the Bulldogs to win outright against LSU.
And for the final SEC play, Saturday night at the Swamp, the Gators and the Volunteers hooking up, and Florida coming off a tough loss to Alabama last week at home, and Tennessee heading out on the road. We know the Volunteers have had problems with the Gators for a very long time. We'll see if Florida can keep it up against UT on Saturday, Brian.
Yeah, the Gators have won 15 of the last 16, 10 of the last 14. They've won by double-digit margins. I guess you could kind of make the case that it's a letdown scenario for Florida. But the fact that they lost the game, you could probably make a case that it's a bounce-back spot as well. It's a pretty big number, but I'm going to go with the first half, minus 11. I saw that number come out today, and I already played it. And I think that's the way to go, minus 11 in the first half. They hope to get Anthony Richardson back this week. Don't know yet. But I think the Gator, I think Emory Jones got a confidence lift with the way he played last week. And, Florida, they dominated the line of scrimmage last week. They really did. And they had a 440 to 331 advantage in total offense, a 26-19 advantage in first downs. And it was the first time during Nick Saban's tenure that an opponent ran for more than 200 yards and held Alabama to less than 100 yards on the ground. And Florida held Bama to 3.3 yards per carry. So I think Florida minus 11 in the first half that's my play.
Let's review Brian's picks for Saturday inside of the SEC. And he's going to take a couple underdogs. Arkansas plus the points against Texas A&M, that game in Arlington. Also, he's going to take Mississippi State plus the points against LSU and lay the points with the Florida Gators in the first half against Tennessee on Saturday night. Brian coming off back-to-back 2-1 weeks here on the Best Bet videos. And you can check out all of Brian's work at VegasInsider.com. Brian, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks for having me, K-Raj.
All right, there is Brian Edwards. I am Kevin Rogers, and we'll talk to you again next week for our college football best bets right here on VegasInsider.com.